Good evening and happy Memorial Day, and welcome to Monday night's segment of the Horsefly Chronicles radio with myself, Julia Syracusa, and Philip Syracusa. We're broadcasting live from the United Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM from New Orleans. This evening's show is sponsored by Carnation, so we want to thank them for their sponsorship. You will have to do a few things in order to participate. Go over to the YouTube channel UFO Paranormal Radio and get into chat. Subscribe if you haven't. You can go into all of the United Public Radio Facebook stations, Twitch, SoundCloud, and Podbean. I can only respond to your comments on YouTube channel on UFO Paranormal Radio. And if you have any questions for our guest, please ask. You can also go over to UFO Undercover with Joe Montaldo on Facebook as well. So tonight we have a very special guest. Dana, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so please welcome to the show Dana Wingard. She is the founder and managing investigator for NEPI, Northeastern Paranormal Investigations. She's also the creator for Phenomenology, which she started in 2009 and has been it's been a very popular paranormal event. Dana is also a gifted, talented healer and Reiki master trained by the Mountain Gypsies. Dana and her daughter Julia together are like a mother, like a daughter, shining light on the darkness. You can find Dana on her website and purchase tickets at www.phenom2020.com for June 3rd to the 5th of next month in Gettysburg, PA. So let's welcome Dana to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank
Woohoo!
you guys so much. I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but
We're
it
here
happens.
and we're good.
So,
We made it. Yay.
this is a completely new network, very large network, and we like you to tell people, take us back a little bit, how you got started for the new listeners in paranormal.
I guess I got started because I remember at a very young age, I could see spirits. I could never really communicate with them, but I could see them. So I was always afraid as a kid. And, I was afraid of the dark, terrified to be alone, terrified to go to bed at night. And I would have a ton of experience, didn't know what was going on. And my adult life, I saw ghost hunters of all things, and I kind of saw these guys going around looking for ghosts, and they weren't afraid of what was going on. So I thought, hey, if they're not afraid, why am I afraid? They were down to earth, and they, put things in layman's term. I had seen people on shows before, like In Search of or Sightings, and they would talk about paranormal stuff, and it went way over my head. But when I saw Jason and Grant doing Ghost Hunters, I kind of understood what they were talking about, and it made me kind of dive into it a little bit more to figure out what was going on. My fear finally got taken away, so then I decided it was time to help other people who were afraid of what was going on in their homes and kind of get rid of their fear and help them. So that's kind of how the whole thing got it started for me.
So that's going way back. And take us into like teenage years. Did you ever hear voices, see shadows? And I say teenage years because that's usually the years where people,
Yep.
it starts to get
Yes.
stronger.
Yeah, I would see shadows. There would be things coming towards me. Sometimes things would move on their own. I noticed a lot would happen if I were to get upset. Objects would move. Not that I was moving them, but like if I had some kind of severe emotion, things around me would break or crash. That happened to me a lot in my teenage years. Um, and it's funny because there's a lot of stuff that I don't remember, but I had connected with someone that I hadn't seen since graduation, and she said, "Oh yeah, you were the girl with the ghost in all her house and all the ghosts in her house," and I had no idea that that's how I was looked at in in high school and stuff. But apparently there was more going on than I even remember.
So let's talk about that. Things would break.
Mm.
So it's a form of telekinesis.
I don't honestly, my opinion now, because I've learned more in the spiritual stuff that I learned with the Mountain Gypsy. I really think that I had an attachment, and this attachment made me believe that it was there to help me. So if I would get mad at someone, it might throw something at them. Um, I know now that
Really?
it wasn't something good good for me. I think this thing, and I get into this kind of in depth. I've done lectures on this that, people talk about possession and how it happens and why it happens. And I kind of have the belief that these things condition you when you're a young child, almost like a child predator does. They kind of condition you and groom you to be accustomed to them, even though they're doing bad things to you. So I think I was conditioned from an early age to have this attachment with me in sort of a possession kind of way. Um, so I really think it was attachment. I think that it wasn't me. It wasn't telekinesis. I think that it was something that was attached to me that that
Okay.
That's
wanted me
interesting.
to think it was my
I
friend.
agree. I agree with you. They definitely do mold you when you're
Right.
young.
I agree with that
Yeah.
as well. But it's interesting that she would get mad and then the spirit would break something.
Yep.
Right.
Crazy. I got the chills.
Well, because
So if you got mad at somebody, did you ever punch them in the face?
Oh,
right,
yeah.
right. I didn't have to punch him in the face. Something would like a light bulb would burst or something. And as a kid, yeah, hey, that's kind of cool. This thing that's around me does cool things for me. So why wouldn't I invite it in? Why would I make it go away?
Right. Yes.
Did you ever find out what the attachment or who it was?
I did. Thanks to Kathy Young and Tess Hughes, we of all places, and it sounds so crazy, like the whole thing. And people that know Kat and Tess know that they're not conventional or anything. Um, I had an event at Disney World where I tried to do a paranormal convention there, and I finally decided to let them work on me on their table, and I had a full-blown exorcism in Disney,
Oh,
of all
wow.
places.
Holy
Really?
moly.
Yeah. And I know how crazy it sounds. I know it's the weirdest thing. They brought me in. They knew that I had attachment. I didn't know. I was oblivious to it. I just, I'd been involved in the paranormal for a long time and completely oblivious. Didn't really believe in possession or anything. And they brought me into their hotel room, put me on their healing table, and it was a couple hours of pure hell. Once it was over with, I felt like I was a completely different person.
All
Wow.
right, all right. So what we're
Wow.
saying is, through adolescence, you said the spirit knows how to mold, which I would agree.
Definitely.
Then you
Yeah.
said in teenage years, if you would get mad, the spirit would break things on your behalf,
Yeah.
which I kind of like. That's cool. Um,
Right.
but
Who
then
wouldn't?
later on in life, you meet people and you're possessed, and they
Yeah.
and they remove this entity. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. And what's weird is, I think people think of possession, they think of more like Linda Blair. It's kind of something that happens instantly. It's kind of makes you sick and weird and speak in tongues and all that. I don't think that's always the case. I think with me, it was emotional as far as depression constantly. I felt a lot of jealousy towards a lot of people, envy, anger all the time. I never had a decent relationship. So there's those kind of things where they just try to take you away from God is what I
Mhm.
feel like they try to do, take you away from people that you love. They try to sever your relationship with the Lord. And I really think that that's where this thing was going.
I would definitely
So
agree
what
with
was
that.
it? What was it that you were possessed by? Was it a demon?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that I know which one it is. I prefer not to discuss which one it was,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure that I know. And there's been instances because now, me and my daughter do the like mother like daughter thing, and we work on people with attachments, and this thing has shown up occasionally when we've worked on other people.
And how does it show up?
Um, this thing has certain traits, and I mean, it's in the Bible. It's definitely something that you can read about. It's a specific personality, so to speak. And when we work on people and they talk about the things that have happened to them, and we can how can I say this? We can feel and see what's on a person. So we have definitely encountered it again. Just by, and I've had people tell me the things that they felt and the things that have happened to them, and it mirrored everything that had happened to me.
You know, it's very interesting what you're saying. We just talked about this
Mm-hmm.
in our own home
Yep.
not too long ago, how these things have a pattern and
Mhm.
and then they can change the pattern once you found out or identified what it is, if it's not
Right,
completely removed.
Yep.
right.
Isn't that fascinating? It's mind blowing to me, and I believe every word you're saying because we know we've experienced what you're saying, and I try to rack my brain around. And yes, for the listener out there, possession is real. Like she said, it's not like Linda Blair. Your head don't
That's
spin around.
yep.
I mean, if my head spin around, I'd probably get $1 million, like just to be on entertainment tonight. You know,
It's
like
not.
all
Oh,
that stuff. I
that's
walk
not how it
backwards down
works.
my stairs. I even tried. I fall down. Um, but it's but it's real. It does
Right.
exist. It does happen, and I've seen people get taken over right in front of me, right in
Right.
front of me, and they act very cold. They're very cold, and robotic.
Mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
angry, cold, different.
So you had it removed, and let's talk about that part. When you have it removed, do you feel completely different immediately?
I did. For me, I definitely did. And, I think because this thing had been on me for so long, at least since I was two. I would say at least since I was 2 years old, this thing had been at me since I was two. And immediately I felt joy. And I said to them, I said, I don't understand what I'm feeling. I've never felt this before. And,
Wow.
I called my best friend. I was like, is this how you feel all the time? Is this why? Because I used to make fun of her because I'm like, why are you so happy all the time? It's really disgusting. And I felt it, and this relief that came out of me. I mean, I must have cried for a day because I had no idea how other people really felt.
Wow.
It
And why
was
a
just,
2 year old,
It's
right?
actually, so that's actually
yeah.
really
It's sad,
sad.
but it's good. And I say to myself, why a 2 year old? Why would this happen to a 2 year old child? So now I'm going to ask you a question. You may have answered on a different network. So again, we're going to forget about that and go forward. Is
Okay.
your parents, your grandparents, has anybody been in any kind of an occult, witchcraft, Ouija board, spiritual work that may have tagged along throughout generations?
Honestly, I don't know. I know my mom and her friends had used Ouija boards. Yeah, I come from a heavily Italian family. Lord only knows what those people do, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, they go back to Italy. I have no idea if any of that happened. Some of the people that I talk to, I'm a healer now, and luckily for me, Kat saw that in me, and she's like, God wants you to do this, and I fully believe that the more the closer that you are to God, the more they try to pull you away. So I think my purpose, why I was brought here, was to help people and heal them. And I think these things didn't want me to do that.
True.
If I could be one less person on God's side and on their side, then they win. That's a win for them.
It's
That's
true.
true.
But I mean,
That's very true.
you guys know the Italians are crazy. Who knows what they what
They
they do?
are. It's
Yep,
true.
I
Well,
know.
yeah, and it always goes back to a generation before, a
Right,
grandparent, what your mom did. You never know what triggered it. Once you
right,
open that door, whether you're doing a Ouija board or whatever you're doing, if you have enough intent, even if it's a good intention, sometimes,
And it
unfortunately, you don't
mhm.
know what's coming,
And it can hurt your
exactly.
family.
and
Right, exactly.
you
Hmm.
don't know what's coming your way.
Yeah.
And once again, to the listener, possession is real. It's not fake. And this is a story where now this person has changed and now is able to help people. And of course, entities try to stop that. We've seen
Right,
that with other people that have been to our home where they tell us the similar pattern.
Yeah.
It's a pattern where they try to stop you from doing good in the world,
Yeah.
right?
Very true.
and you
And
have
now,
to. I
go
was gonna
ahead.
say you have to kind of keep. I always tell people it's like a wound that can get infected if you don't take care of it. I can't. Okay, so I had my healing session with Kat and Tess, and I felt great afterwards. That doesn't mean that I can go back to old habits and doing things that I used to do before. You have to be careful because these things are waiting. They're waiting for
Ah,
you to mess up.
how true is that statement right there? These things
They're
are waiting,
waiting.
they lie dormant. And I'm
Right.
going to say this, the Amityville horror case, people say, well, it was fake. No, it's not fake.
Right.
Because one family experienced it and the other one doesn't mean it's fake.
It's
What it
Mm,
does mean, if you
That's
know
true.
about paranormal and how
hmm
these things work, they lay dormant and they
Right.
wait for the right
so right,
family
exactly.
who's open and they can go in and destroy and take over.
It's
That's what
true.
they do. In fact, in
Yep.
any haunted case,
It's true.
right?
It is
Yep.
How many
true.
times you hear, oh, that case is fake? No, it's not fake.
It's
It's
Right.
not
just
fake.
every family brings a different energy, and that's really how it works. And people don't understand that.
And yeah, Dana had a strong energy because if a spirit is breaking something on her behalf, it's kind of like, hey, I'm here to help you,
Right.
right?
hmm But it's
Right.
not.
And it kind of reminds us of those stories where the Sally house with the Pickmans, where the child plays innocent, help me,
Right.
I'm here, I need your help. Meanwhile, it turns out to be a demonic entity, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So it's trickery, it's deception, it's all the lies, right? That the entity puts out there makes you believe in one thing. You like it, you learn it, you want it to be around, you acknowledge it,
You get used
and you
to
get
it.
you get
Right.
some people get empowered from it,
hmm
but little do you know it's destroying you and those around you.
And I
Yeah.
can tell you
I'm pretty much sold right now.
from working on people and trying to remove an attachment, a lot of people don't want to let these attachments go. It's like a bad habit. They're used to it.
It's
They don't want
true.
to let it go.
But yeah, I had that problem.
It's true.
I had that problem myself. I had a lot of empowerment
hmm
growing
Yep.
up with these things,
Yep.
and I was tricked, and I found myself personally doing the Ouija board every day by myself. Whether it worked or it didn't, I felt that empowerment, and the answers that would come through
Yeah.
um, were very compelling, and it just enticed me to go forward with the Ouija board. So she's right.
Right.
That's how it
Right.
works.
And until you really break away and say, "Hey, I'm being fooled and tricked," you know. So, and
Right.
True.
again, once again, for the listener out there, me personally, I suggest do not open that doorway.
hmm
Whether you
I
believe in
agree.
this stuff or you don't, once you open that door, if you do Ouija board, and they sell in stores, right? Can you believe that one?
I
Um,
mean, it is just a board. We all
it's
know
just a
that it's a
board, but it's
board.
the
It's
intention.
exactly.
So it's like the recipe of, here's the intention,
Yep.
follow the directions. And
Right.
and I could tell the listener that it's real. These things do come after you. And you may never see it, you may never hear it, you may never
hmm
feel it, but don't think for 1 second you're not decaying because of something that you've unleashed to the other world. I've seen that over and over again, right?
Yep. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
I,
I'm
and
like, there's
again, we
no
know
words.
we've done shows where people this is what they do for a living. They do the Ouija board, and they say, "Oh no." I guess maybe some people they know how to put up protection in a way, like barriers.
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know if it's true with every single case, but I would say be careful. They always say be careful of what you wish for. Well, be
Right.
careful of what you intent for because you
hmm
don't know the outcome.
Yes.
And I
So
think part of the problem is that sometimes when people are dealing with these things, they don't realize what they're dealing with. The depression or the anger and that kind of stuff, they think it's normal. And I did. Honestly, I thought that it was normal to feel crappy and angry all the time.
Mhm.
So you have that battle too where people are like, "Oh, it's not a spirit, it's not any kind of energy, it's just me," or it's chemical or it's this or it's that. A lot of times it's not.
Yeah.
well, you know how I answer that. Let's say you have an addiction, or let's say you have
Yep.
something wrong with you medically, right? Here's what we've learned. What we've learned is if it's a negative entity around you, it'll enforce that. So if you
Right.
have a sickness, it'll
hmm
grow by 10. If you have an
An
addiction of
addiction.
drugs or alcohol, it'll intensify it where you can't stop drinking and taking drugs.
Right.
This is how we see how these things work. And again, we've seen this through trial error experience of people and journals of what they go through, and this is what it does. It'll take your bad habit and intensify it. Evil finds your weakest link.
That's what I was going to
Yep.
say. It goes back to every family is different, and that that's how these hauntings in homes, they kind of pick the families. I mean, it sounds crazy, but that's what they do.
Well, and
Yeah,
I always say people are haunted, not places. I've said that a million times. It's
yeah,
the
that's true
person,
too.
not the place.
That's true. People are haunted, not places. So, that's interesting you say that. People are haunted, not places. So then let's talk about haunted locations around the world. And
Mhm.
let's say there's no one in the location. Is it still haunted?
It's a good question.
I
I don't, I mean,
would
I
think
guess
so.
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, we hear about Bobby Mackey's, where when it wasn't open, police would ride by and it would, seem like there was a full party going on inside. So I don't know. I don't know. Do they need our energy to exist at all?
Hmm.
That's so interesting. Um, it's a tough one, right? That is such a tough one because people do bring the energy for the spirit world to ignite. However, there are locations around the world where they just put surveillance cameras and they're
Right,
on live streams, but no one in these locations, and yet furniture is slowly, not really moving fast, but it slowly moves. A light
right.
flickers, and there are things, and you see shadows. So
Mhm.
there's things that happen with no one there, and it's such a tricky thing, right?
It
It is.
truly is.
So then they go back to, well, it's the ground as well, the ground.
I think
So
I
if
think
there
it's a
were murders,
combination of both. I think that
Yeah,
houses are tainted. They're tainted with a history. And then you get this family that just say move in, right? And they have gifts and they have baggage, quote unquote. And then you have like the perfect storm, a perfect storm just sitting there.
right?
yep,
But the energy, we all know energy is not created or destroyed, so it's always there. It's always around. And these negative forces, but sometimes they're good spirits, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
it's not always bad.
there's
right.
a big question mark around that. People say, well, if it's
Mhm.
earthbound, it's bad because it should have crossed over. However, when I study near-death experiences, they say it's free will. When they
I
come back on the
I
table and
believe
say,
that.
look, it's free will. I had a choice to either go through the light or stay here, and I chose to stay.
I fully
Mhm.
believe that. I fully believe you have free will. But like they talk about when our relatives come and visit us and stuff. I would think that most normal, if that's the right word, after you pass, you would want to go to someplace better and come back and visit here and there and not stay here. I think if you're staying, there's something wrong. It doesn't mean that you're evil, but if you're staying, something's
Mhm.
not right.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
yeah.
uh, Definitely. Unfinished business. If
Yeah,
they're still stuck, kind of.
right. Right.
Yeah. So again, to the listeners, all spirits are not bad, but like Dana said, those that have crossed over, maybe they come back to visit and give us signs. Hey, I'm okay. Usually, how I identify something negative is it's like a static discharge in the air, like after a lightning storm, a thunder.
Mhm.
You feel that intense
Yeah.
fog, and you feel like the hairs are standing up on your body.
Right.
Um, that's how I describe negative forces and how I could feel them being around. And then sometimes by the corner of the eye,
Mhm.
there's the shadows flying by, right?
Yeah.
The
Yep.
shadow effect. And then if
Yep.
you feel null and void and depressed and angry and a lot of hatred, well, chances are
Yeah.
you're dealing with something malevolent. Now,
Right.
let's move forward now and talk about your events that you started and where we
Yes.
are today, because that's such a big thing for a lot of people. They love your
Yes.
events. Talk about it.
We were trying to figure out how many years ago the first one was. I want to say it was like 2008. I might be off because I'm terrible with dates. But I was always going to Dave Schrader's Darkness Radio events, And I kept asking him to do one in Gettysburg because it's really close to me. And Gettysburg's a great place. And he said to me, do it yourself. So I said, okay. I was bringing pamphlets. I'm like, come on, do a darkness trip at Gettysburg. And he told me to do it myself. So I did with a lot of help from him. He hooked me up with a lot of the celebrities and stuff. And I invited a bunch of people. A bunch of people came and bought tickets, and it kind of went from there. Um, we are a very laid back event. I know a lot of events you go to, they're very rigid and structured, and
Mhm.
we're not. You buy your tickets for what we have going on. The vendors, we have the vendor room open for a very long time because some vendors like to be there for a very long time. Some don't. We're just, I said the other day, we're like the Woodstock of paranormal conventions. It's very, it's a
That's
very
funny.
close gathering. And we just have fun. We enjoy it. You'll get to hear some really cool stories from some really cool people. You can learn a lot. You can get up close and personal, to a lot of these people, and you can ask them anything you want. That's kind of how I learned. That's how other people are learning. So many people have met each other at Phenomenology. They have forged lifelong relationships. We've gotten a couple marriages out of the event. It's
Wow.
really, truly a family atmosphere.
Wow, that's amazing. Well,
That's
And it's
great.
you're
pretty
doing
cool.
a really, really great job with that,
And
Dana.
the
Thank
event that
you.
you actually have coming up, um, a lot of good people are going to be there.
Can you
Yeah.
give us the address and where they can get tickets?
Okay, they can go to www.phenom, and that's PHENOM 2020.com. You can get tickets there. And we also have something on thriller.events. You can search for us by the date. They were actually helping me out with selling some tickets so we could get it out to more people. Um, we're closing in on the end. We are just trying to sell day passes. We have Saturday passes for $50. There that would include the vendor room and all your lectures for all day Saturday, all day and all night Saturday. We go till about 9 o'clock with lectures.
Okay.
That Saturday. So you kind of can see everything, see everybody, get to talk to whoever you want. And one thing we like too about phenomenology is we keep the attendance kind of low. I know some of these events have thousands of people come in. We do right around maybe 300 or 400 tops. We've only sold 250 VIP passes, which is right where we want to be, so that you're not standing in long lines. There's not a ton of crowds. So we kind of keep it a little bit more personal.
Wow. That's still a lot of people, though.
It's a lot of people. It is a lot of people, but hopefully, the 250 that we have as far as VIP people, the vendor room's pretty spread out. It's pretty big. We actually put out seating for 300 in the lecture area so we could allow for social distancing, um, so that people could kind of space out a little bit. And we have people coming in on Saturday. What I'm thinking is that they're going to come through the vendor room and kind of, you know, be in and out. They'll be coming and going. So I don't think we'll have that many all at one time. I mean, there's plenty of room for it, but I know some people are a little leery with COVID and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So Pennsylvania did drop their mask mandate. So we've devised a little system of wristbands for people who are comfortable around other people and people who are not. So you guys will see that when you get there. We got a red, yellow, and green wristbands for you can approach me, kind of stay away, or stay your 6 feet.
Wow. That's kind of cool. And did you come up with that idea?
I did not. It's funny. My church did. I was like, that is
Wow.
a great idea. So I thought, let's get those
So I
wristbands.
gotta look at everybody's wrist to see if I can talk to them.
Well, it's better than because sometimes people feel
That's a good
Oh,
awkward
idea.
saying, "Hey,
I like that.
don't hug me," because I'm not comfortable with it. Some people feel uncomfortable and they feel like they're being standoffish. So,
I mean, it is true. I mean, it's sad, but
right,
it's true.
right.
You know,
So I figured this would
yeah,
be easy.
that is
So,
interesting. The colors. So let's talk about Ghost and the event. You know,
okay.
now look, with all this energy, a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
go to events. Have you ever had encounters where like the lights shut down
Good
or
question.
Well, I can tell you that most of the time we have issues with the audio and the visual. Like all the time while we're there, laptops will have problems. We have seen apparitions at the Eisenhower. You can hear children at night playing in the pool when there are no children playing in the pool. A couple of the rooms are haunted. I know that we have one lady in a room who likes the TV to be left on all night. She will turn it back on every time you turn it off. So,
Wow. That would be
so
me.
then, yeah, yeah, that's me. I like TV on too. Um, so the reports that woman apparently, her and her husband were there for a convention. She went to sleep. He went out to party with his buddies for the rest of the night. He came home, went to bed, and woke up, and she was dead in the bed the next morning.
Oh
Oh
wow.
Um,
man. Oh,
another
horrible.
another lady who her and her husband used to vacation there every year. She came back one year without him because he had died. She committed suicide in the room. Like I guess they came back there every year on their anniversary, and the one year he wasn't with her, she committed suicide. So there's some stories like that around the hotel, and people have seen stuff. Um, there's a lot of energy, especially when we're all there together. It's an older hotel, which I prefer. They have revamped and remodeled, so who knows how much activity we're going to get. It'll probably kind of be off the charts. So don't think, if you weren't able to sign up for a ghost hunt because we have very just limited spots available, don't worry about it. There's plenty going on in the Eisenhower. You'll see them, you'll hear them.
Wow.
So when we talk about this 1 year anniversary where someone dies, are we talking about the revisit of the spirit, or are we talking about residual energy?
I think that it is probably the spirit, honestly, because when they talk about her, she has interacted with people. I think we had one year we investigated the room that she died in, and she did interact with the psychics that were in the room.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty sure she's not residual.
Yeah, if they're intelligent right then and there, where you can get a response, are you here? Yes, on one of your pieces of equipment.
Right, right,
Um, can you see and hear us? And they acknowledge that right then and there, then it's not residual from what I believe. Having
right.
said that, with your abilities and you do some investigations, what do you like to use? What kind of equipment?
I hate all the equipment.
I knew she was gonna say
I
that.
I do. I hate the equipment. I like a voice recorder,
Yeah,
and that's
Mhm.
pretty much it. Because a lot of
yeah,
times you use equipment and you think you got something, but you didn't.
yeah,
Mhm.
Um,
I agree.
so I kind of, we've personally myself. Now the rest of my team does not agree with me, so don't. I'm not speaking for them at all. For myself, I'm to the point where I'd rather experience what's going on than try to capture
Mhm.
evidence to show somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's
True.
just where I'm at. And if I'm in a client's house and they need something tangible to know that they're not crazy, I will usually let them listen to EVPs.
Wow.
I think the digital recorder is probably the best because that's you can't debunk that.
Nope.
You know,
It's
Right.
very old school.
everything else like
Mhm.
the SLS and the REM
I like the
part,
L's. I
I
know.
like it, but then
It's
there's
just
big
interesting.
controversy over it. You
There
know,
is. There
there
is.
is controversy that other things are setting that thing off. It
Yeah,
is
I do like the
interesting.
SLS camera.
It's
I like it.
interesting to
Look, we
watch.
had it here in our home. Uh, it is interesting, and I would hate to believe that whatever was caught was real, right?
Yeah. I think that's
Um,
why you don't like it.
That's
I
why I
don't
won't do it in
know,
my house.
but it is interesting. It's it's one of those pieces of equipment where, you know, it's if it's backed up by a voice recorder, so
Right.
basically you're capturing something on this equipment and you have a recorder capturing a voice or from the
Mhm.
spirit, I
Yeah.
would say that's pretty good evidence, right?
Yes.
Well, and
I
also
always
I
like
think
three
uh,
things.
I was gonna say if you ask it to do something and it does,
Yeah.
that's kind of hard to dispute.
Yeah, that's the kind of problem I had here because it did
Mhm.
what we
Right.
told it to do, and I don't
Right.
like that because I don't like ghosts, period. Unless they give me the winning lottery numbers, then I like that. And I
Right,
have not
exactly.
gotten a winning lottery number from any ghost on either side. And I even made them a promise I would try to help and contribute to them somehow.
Oh, stop.
Open up my own haunted museum.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
But it doesn't work. They don't like that. They
No.
don't like to be bribed.
No, they don't. They're like
no.
kids. They don't like to be
You
bribed.
know, Dana, let's talk about something now. one of the biggest topics in the
I,
world about to hit the news,
oh boy.
well, it's hitting the news, about to hit every platform is aliens and UFOs.
Right.
Now, a lot of people in the paranormal, including myself, are believers, and sometimes we question whether it's paranormal activity or are these other beings from somewhere else interdimensional that are
Mhm.
responding to some of the questions that we have. What's
Yeah.
your thoughts?
I honestly think that they are beings from another place. I don't think they're interdimensional. I don't know why. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around it. Um, Maybe at a later time I might think so, but I really just do think that they are more advanced beings than we are, and they have better travel, and I do believe they can probably speak without speaking. They can think
The mind.
their
Hmm.
thoughts. Yeah, I kind of do think that's there. I just think that they're way more advanced than we are. I don't know if they're interdimensional. I mean, they could be. uh, Um, that's just not something that I'm into yet. But there's still time.
So, are you a believer?
I am a believer. I've seen things in the sky that I can't explain. The movement of them, it just, I know that me and my group were at Prospect Place in Ohio, and we watched stuff in the sky for hours that just made no sense whatsoever. I mean, absolutely none. They, there was no way that they were not spacecraft. Um, so that there's that. And I know Travis Walton personally, and I believe what he says. I
Yeah.
fully believe what he says. I mean, I've talked to him about it. He didn't come off as flaky or weird or, somebody just making something up to me. So, I truly believe him. And I've read the book Communion, which scared me terribly. So yeah, there's a lot. I believe it. I do believe that happens. You can't have so many people having the same experience and there not be something to it.
That's what I say. How can all these people be
Now,
making
I'm a
this up?
believer, and I do, and I know, I don't know Travis, but I know the story, um, and communion, and all these other
We were looking for
stories.
that movie,
We were
weren't
actually
we?
looking for it, we
We
couldn't find
were.
it.
We were looking for that
So
movie.
then my question is, and again, I'm a believer, so I want to go there, but then why don't these things these crafts that I have seen as well, why don't they show up in Times Square or the center of California where there's thousands of people out at once? Why not?
I don't think they want to be seen.
I don't think they want to be seen either, and I think they're pretty smart. I think they probably know that we can't handle it. We can't. We as humans cannot handle very much at all.
True.
Honestly, we don't handle it well.
It's
That
True.
true.
that was kind of proven in the past year. We don't handle things very well. So besides the fact that if we had a heads up that they were coming, what would we do to them? You know, it would we annihilate everything.
How true is
I
that,
mean,
right?
it's the truth. I
We
mean,
like to
Right.
ruin
it's
everything.
sad,
We
but
do.
They're probably looking at us laughing at
it's
us. It's like, what
true.
do I?
Right.
But
Ugh.
yet there's so many of these sightings, and now it's the media all over the place. But yet more and more sightings are being
Mhm.
taken seriously. The government's coming out with the report
Right.
this tomorrow, or
Yeah.
maybe sometime in June. I wish it'd be tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
And of course, the government's going to
I know.
spin it because they spin
Right.
everything. But
Right.
hopefully, they spin it in a direction where they don't mislead,
Mhm.
and it's an intelligent report saying, "Hey, we're not alone." Period. You
Right.
know.
Right.
Yes.
And I think it would be arrogant to think that we were alone, that there wasn't anything else out there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And look, I says to my wife, look, whether it's real, well, I do believe in it, but whether people believe it or not, it hasn't really affected. If they wanted us gone with that kind of
We would have been gone a
we
long
would have been
time
gone a
Right.
long
ago.
time ago.
Exactly.
I,
So
like
they
you
don't
said,
want us wiped off the earth.
no.
I know it's George Noria. Listen to him. He thinks they're trying to replace us. And then Fox News says that we have to learn how to. I'm not even joking. They said we have to learn how to fight.
All I remember
Remember that? It
that.
was just on. We have to learn how to fight these things.
What is, I
I mean,
think
See,
what am I
that's
going
the
to do? Go for
problem. That's
boxing lessons and learn how to fight an alien?
that's why you should not listen to the news every day. Because
well, and
I
that's
have to
why
learn
the
how to fight
aliens
something.
aren't going anywhere where there's a large population because we don't know how to act.
It's the truth. We're all nuts.
That's true, Dana. That is so true. And I will say this, some of the paranormal investigations we've had at our home and other locations, and some of the teams would say it's not, this is something different.
Mhm.
And I'm going to say that that wormhole or that vortex of energy, however these things come through,
Yeah.
it seems to be, and if I could say it's the same portal where the spirit can come through, and so can these other beings come through. It's like the same wave of energy where they
Yeah.
come here.
Yep.
And I've heard that. Yeah, I've definitely heard that.
I think it's
Uh,
fascinating, and it's definitely intriguing, right?
I'm
oh,
definitely
definitely.
interested in what we're going to hear.
Yeah. And it all ties into the same thing, the spirituality of our beliefs, the ghosts, the demons,
I could tell you one
angels.
thing that's going
Now
to
we're dealing
happen.
with aliens. So it all ties into, hey, number one, we're not alone. Number
Yep.
two,
Right.
spirituality should be taken more seriously. Sure,
Right.
and paranormal investigators should be taken more seriously
Yep.
because the evidence
That's what I
that
was going to say.
some of them are getting are compelling evidence to the other side. Um,
The
it's not make
non-believe,
believe. It's not fake. This is real.
yes, the
Right.
non-believers are going to really be paying attention. Let's just say that they're going to be really paying attention now.
And that leads me to another question, Dana, for you is that you're a healer as well. Um,
Yeah.
the healing process of another person, what do you use and what helps you to help that other person?
We use a sound and vibration table. So what happens is you lay on our table and you have headphones on. And what that does is it kind of relaxes you and puts you into a meditative state where we kind of open you up. The different things that we do as far as like the mountain magic and stuff like that. We open you up to complete healing from God. So that's kind of what we use. We use some herbs and we use some oils. We've used crystals with people. We use some holy relics. I was raised Catholic. I'm more of a non-denominational Christian at this point, but I was raised Catholic, so I really do believe in um, religious relics. It's just the way I was brought up. A lot of prayers, um, and there's just things that we do that I've learned through mountain magic that helps um, to pull things off of people or to fill
Wow.
them where they need to be filled.
Dana, I need to lay on your table when I get there. Seriously.
We'll have a couple tables. I'm probably bringing mine. I know Tessa's bringing hers, and Carolyn and Charlie and um, William and Denise. So there's a whole band of gypsies coming that Kat has personally taught all of us, and she opened us up and showed us our gifts that we had, and we were handpicked by Kat. Um,
Yeah.
we're the people that she felt God drew her to. And she handpicked us and taught us the way because she didn't want these traditions and stuff to be lost. And of course, Tessa's there to carry it on, but that's one person. She needed more to carry on
Yeah.
this tradition and the healing after she was gone, and she knew it. She knew it needed to be done.
Kat was a nice. We had her on the radio.
Yes.
It's almost 2 years,
Oh
but
my
really
God.
nice person.
Oh,
So
she loved you
vibrant
guys.
energy when she spoke on
Hmm.
she was like a person that you just wanted to listen to.
Yep.
And may she rest in peace. Right?
And that's how we met Dana.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
And she loved you
Yeah.
guys. She absolutely loved you guys. She thought you were great.
Aw, that's so nice.
Yeah. She's definitely missed.
Oh my gosh,
Hmm.
And
she's
I
great.
like the fact that her daughter is taking the reins and moving forward with that.
Yeah.
So it's knowledge never lost,
Right,
right?
right.
And
Tess is such an amazing healer. I mean, she would never act like or say that she is the healer that she is. She's an amazing healer. She's an amazing intuitive. It's kind of crazy sometimes. She'll tell you stuff. It's really creepy, but she's so good at it, and she's awesome.
Wow.
that's nice.
Aw.
So, do you have any words of wisdom to the listener out there on energy healing and any kind of practice that could help people mentally and physically heal in a sense where they're dealing with such bad times, for example?
You have to be strong in your faith. I go with the Christian faith. Everyone's entitled to their own faith. We don't judge or anything like that. But you really have to be steadfast in it, not kind of wavering, not kind of going back and forth like, oh, well, today I'm Wiccan, today I'm Christian, tomorrow I might be just Jewish, and just kind of pick your God and stick with it. Follow those practices. I can tell you something that we do that I think anybody can do on really, really bad days. Take off your shoes, go outside, stand in the grass, and hug a tree. And I know how crazy that sounds, but there's actually scientific proof behind this that the Earth has the same, and I'm gonna try to get the words right, but my memory is horrible. The same amount of megahertz in it that your body does, and that's probably the wrong word, but that's the word I'm gonna use. It has the same energy vibration in it that your body does. So actually taking your shoes off and hugging a tree and putting your feet either in the dirt or the grass, um, really, really makes you feel so much better. It literally grounds you, and it takes away a lot of anxiety. It takes away a lot of stress, takes away a lot of confusion. Um, the earth was put here for us to be on it, actually be on it. Use it to your advantage. Kat would go out there, she would find a mud puddle and just get into it up to her ankles, and it would make her feel so good. And it does work. I hate like stepping on the grass in bare feet. She made me, and I was like, wow, this is this is different. But it does actually grounding yourself, and just staying strong in your faith. That's the most we can do, especially during these hard times. I mean, it's getting better, but I think that's the best you can do.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said hugging trees because
We've been hearing a lot about,
not
yeah.
only we've had paranormal investigators here years ago that they were out in the backyard hugging my trees.
Yep.
And we were laughing like, what are
At
they
that
doing?
time we
We
were.
didn't know much about hugging trees. I
Right.
have 40 trees in my backyard. So now tonight, when I'm done with this show, I go hug all my trees.
Oh my goodness, and Eve's they already think we're
And I'm
nuts.
taking my shoes and socks off.
No, but
And hopefully I'll feel better.
it is true. As crazy as it sounds,
And they're going to
It does.
vacuum the grass.
oh,
This way my neighbors really think I'm nuts.
they already do.
Uh,
But we used to think that was a little weird, but
but I can
Me
see what
too.
you're saying. It works.
yes, I mean that's what
Right?
they.
That's like,
We've
when
heard this
people
so
go into
many
the
times.
ocean, the salt and
I've
everything,
walked.
it's the
I've
healing effects.
right. I've went outside before and walked in the grass.
Have you hugged the trees?
I've never hugged the trees though. Only
Yeah,
I
because
am
I'm
afraid
afraid of. Yes, I'm afraid of the bugs.
the yellow jacks. We're surrounded
I
by
know.
them, unless we try to bargain with them.
That's the only reason why we haven't is because of these bugs.
I know, but this year we're getting infected. They said the bee population was down. Well, come to my property because the bee population, these honeybees are everywhere on my property. You want them? Come get them.
You're
I'm not
saving
even
the world over there. You're
outside.
literally saving the
Chase
world.
by a couple of them, and they're big.
It's true. I mean, I can't help
I
laughing.
mean, these are bees on steroids.
He tells me to come outside. We sit outside. He's running in the house. It's because of the peas.
I don't know what it is, but they're all in my backyard.
Oh my god.
It's funny, but it's true. No, I know, but the hugging trees I have heard of,
Yeah.
and that's good advice for people because, like you said, the ground, the earth around us, these are the healing effects.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
where we get crystals.
Yep.
Yep.
What about crystals? What's your thoughts on like any good crystals you'd recommend?
I was always taught that you need to use crystals that are indigenous to you, which means things that you can find in your own backyard. I know here where I live, we have a lot of quartz. So we're always digging quartz out of the yard. I have them all over my house, all over my windowsills. And same with like herbs and stuff. Whatever is indigenous to where you are is what you should be using. Um, Here I have a lot of lady's thumb that we use for things here. Um, that's the way I was always taught. I know each crystals have different meanings and different powers, and um, you can always find one that appeals to you. I was always taught if I go to a store that has a ton of crystals, you can feel which one you should get. There will be certain ones that make you feel a certain way. And even when you buy stuff from people, if you go to buy something from somebody and it doesn't feel right, don't, because that has energy on it that you don't want.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That's true.
So true.
That's true.
I mean, you got these things you just have to learn as you
Yeah.
grow, and
Hey,
it's so
it does,
true.
but that's true. The crystals, she's right about that. Dana's right.
Yes.
Hey, so the show is over. We're at the hour. Tell people where they can find you, and again, the event coming up and all that good stuff.
Okay, we will be in Gettysburg June 3rd through the 5th at the Eisenhower Hotel. You can come on Saturday to buy tickets for your Saturday pass. They're $50, or you can go online at www.phenom2020.com, and that's PHENOM 2020.com. And that's where
Great.
we'll be.
Hey, it's going to be great. Julie and I will be there on Saturday. We're looking
We
Yay!
will
forward
see
to
you.
it, and you'll get to meet in person. Hey, thank you so much for coming on tonight's show. We got to do this again.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you,
thank you so much
Dana.
for having me.
Thank you. All right, Julie, wrap it up.
Okay, well, we want to thank Carnation for sponsoring our show, and you can join us again next Monday at 7 CT and 8 EST, coming live from United Public Radio, 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Carnation, for all the great, wonderful products out there. We
Yes,
really, really
definitely.
appreciate
I
it,
love them.
especially the instant
My
breakfasts.
kids love that, by
Yeah.
the way.
So, to our listener out there, we want you to be safe. Have a great the rest of Memorial Day, and thank everyone out there, including our producer, for their services.
Yes, thank you, Joe Montaldo, for
For
your
your
service.
services.
Thank you.
And this is the month that we will find out exactly what we've known. Well, let's see what the news has to say in our government. We're not alone, and that's all I got to say.
Yep,
There are other life forms out there,
very true.
and
Well, I can't wait to
yeah,
see what's going on.
and hopefully they could take my kids away when we make friends
Stop
with them.
saying that out loud.
Put them out in a spaceship, and that'll be good. Even if they got to give these guys a few dollars. Hey, everyone, have a great night. This is Horsefly Chronicles Radio signing off.
Thank you.